So, you've spent hundreds of hours learning a new language. You've listened to podcasts, read books, watched movies, and the day finally comes for you to take a trip to a country where they speak the language that you're learning. Last week, that was me. I visited the beautiful island of Sardinia in the Mediterranean Sea, where the primary language spoken is Italian.
Siamo molto alto, anche siamo molto stanco.
And incredibly, the hours of learning Italian paid off. Almost 100% of the conversations that I had were in Italian. I was able to connect with the locals, and I felt like they embraced me for my efforts to try to speak their language. Now, according to the CEFR language levels, a person at the B1 level can deal with most situations that arise on a trip to a country where the language is spoken. Awesome, I feel like I've unlocked that achievement now. But there was something that bothered me about the conversations on my trip. Whilst it was amazing to speak in Italian, there was something that was missing.
Possiamo prendere, come si dice, olive, pomodori, anche forse del pesce, pesce piccolo.
Often, finding the right words from my memory was frustratingly slow.
Have you ever had a dream that you...
I found my brain was working in overtime just to pick up on the words that I did understand in order to construct meaning. I want to be able to communicate without effort with native speakers, and this is one of the criteria to achieve CEFR's B2 level. So what can I do to improve and reach the next level on my language learning journey? Let's find out. Despite my best efforts to consume as much Italian content as I could in the weeks prior to my trip, it still clearly wasn't quite enough. You see, neuroscientists suggest that language learning isn't just about the quantity of input, but it's also about learning to use the knowledge that we already possess. To understand what I mean, let's take a look at how the brain works. Research shows that there are two major forms of memory in our brain: declarative memory and procedural memory. Declarative memory is the part of the brain that's responsible for storing and recalling general factual information and knowledge about the world around us. In language, it's useful for remembering word-specific information, such as word sounds, word meaning, word patterns. Procedural memory, on the other hand, is the part of the brain that manages the ability to do something automatically and unconsciously after repeated practice. For example, walking, cycling, and driving are all learned through procedural memory. In language learning, procedural memory is needed for the manipulation of vocabulary and grammar into sentences that enable you to communicate. This research suggests that in the early days of learning a new language, declarative memory is used to learn new vocabulary and grammar. However, as a learner becomes more proficient, procedural memory takes over for more complex processing. On my trip to Sardinia, I was forced to use more of my procedural memory so as to understand new concepts and communicate in unexpected scenarios. For example, cheese tasting. And I've realised that I have got some work to do on my procedural memory if I want to reach the B2 level. So, how can we improve our procedural memory when learning a new language? There are a variety of techniques that you can use. First, to improve my understanding and comprehension, my focus is now on consuming content that is designed for native speakers of Italian, rather than for language learners. Now, of course, to reach this stage, you do usually have to use content that is more structured, but I'm now at a level where I can consume more natural content like movies, video games, and audiobooks for Italians. So I think, whilst I will continue with more structured courses like Duolingo, I will put more emphasis from now on using varied and natural comprehensive input. To improve procedural memory when speaking a language, it's crucial to actively practice constructing sentences and expressing ideas in real time. Some methods that I'm going to use are more interactive courses that push you to speak aloud and form new sentences. For example, Pimsleur, which focuses on speaking aloud and spaced repetition.
Siamo seduti al piano di sopra. Dovrei ordinare al bar?
And apps like Busuu, where you are required to write or speak about a specific topic, and then native speakers can correct your work. Of course, having conversations is critical, but you don't need to go abroad. Having a tutor or using a platform like iTalki, which I would recommend, offers a unique opportunity for live conversation practice.
Possiamo anche leggere una storia.
If you have one takeaway from this video, it should be that the key elements to learning a language in adulthood are an immersive environment, extensive repetition, and practicing the language in a variety of contexts. The encoding of memories is more effective when an emotional stimulus is present. So get out there and experience the language rather than just learn it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of saying you don't understand. When having a conversation, I find it's really useful to repeat back to them what I think they said in my own words. If they confirm that I'm correct, then I know I've understood. If not, then at least we're communicating and eventually we can reach an understanding. Most importantly, have fun out there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to keep updated with my language learning journey, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Ciao!